Hi, I'm Tim from Tower Systems. I'm here with Justin, one of our other account managers. Look, today we just wanted to do a more thorough run through on how our Bike Shop package works. Really handy. This video is really handy for those customers that might not have time to do a one-on-one demo or might want to watch this after hours. So yeah, we'll provide a bit of a run through. Justin's going to play the part of the customer and ask me a few of the kind of frequently asked questions. Yeah, by all means, if you watch this and you come away from it and you've got a few other questions, reach out. We're more than happy to help. Look, that said, I'll jump straight into it and share my screen.
I'll do my best.
So you'll see here, this is essentially the main screen of the system. Now, one of the really good things about Retailer is this dashboard is totally customizable. So these tiles can be set to be shortcuts to facilities that you use on a regular basis. They can be shortcuts to websites, and they can also go through multiple levels as well. So for example, where I've got my stock option, I can click that and I can go in and I can have a further drop down list. I can also have different layouts for different machines, so that if, for example, my point of sale user, I didn't want them to have access to reordering or to the website integration or the accounting integration, I could change that configuration so they might just have a cut down version, essentially, where they've just got access to the point of sale, the end of day process, and the help functionality. I'm going to change mine back to my full layout, so I've got everything there. But you can customize that to suit. We'll go through that with you as part of the installation process, but you've also got total control of that after the fact as well. That level of flexibility also translates through to the point of sale screen. So within the point of sale screen, this can be modified to change font sizes, colors, styles. I can move these buttons from being down the side to the bottom if I prefer. And these buttons, again, same as that last screen, can either be shortcuts to facilities, areas of the system. They can drop down into groups. So where I've got tubes, I can click that. I can go into my different types. So it's a mountain bike, and then it's the Kenda. I can navigate through to add those products to the sale. They can also be shortcuts to absolute products. So I can sell my parking hook simply by clicking that on that screen. Yeah, you can customize this screen to suit. If you looked at that and thought, you know what, I don't need some of these facilities, maybe you're not doing special orders to start with, or quotes and that sort of stuff, we can again tailor this screen to suit for that initial installation to make it as simple as possible to get you set up on the new system.
Sorry, just quickly, I see you've got images obviously as notes, so I can have images of bikes and certain accessories on those buttons as well, can I?
Yeah, absolutely. So these buttons can be either text or images, but that said, you can also have images behind them, in the sense that if I went to sell, for example, this Scott scale, I can select that bike. Now, I've got that bike set up for serial numbers. So this shows me all of the serial numbers I have in stock and what date those came in. So if I was selling this bike to a customer, I'd probably want to grab one of the ones that's been in stock for the longest and add that to the sale.
Yeah.
But back to your question about the image, I can also simply click on this bike on this on my transaction here and bring up the image of it.
Oh, yeah.
And each one product can have unlimited images. So I could have, pictures of all of the componentry loaded against it as well. And down the bottom there, I can see what my quantity on hand is. I've got 7. You can see there when I add that bike to the sale, it shows color, size, and style. So you can have that information linked to products as well. Not super important for putting the transaction through, but where that really becomes important in the system is with our website integration. So when that bike flows across, I can have it appear on my website as the Scott Scale 980, and then the customer simply selects what size and color they're after. While I've got these 3 products on the transaction here, you'll see firstly my tube there, that automatically discounted down. So that went from $9.99 to $8.99 because I've got that on a promotion. So all of your promotions you can pre-configure in the background based on a particular time frame. And there's a lot of flexibility with how that works as well. So it can simply be, I want to sell this tube for this price between these dates. It could be department based, so it could be all tubes 10% off for this week only, category within the department, even mix and match, or specifically 2 types of sales where I could say anytime someone buys a bike, with that bike purchase, they get 10% off any accessories that are purchased at the same time. So you've got a heap of flexibility with how that works. One of the really common things we see in bike shops these days is the negotiation during the transaction. So in this situation, you know, $12.99 for this bike, they might say, hey, I saw it at this store for that price, or whatever it may be. So I can really easily discount that bike from here as well. So it's $12.99. I can simply click on my discount option here. It shows me my GP information down the bottom, so I can make a decision based on that if I want to reference that. That said, we can hide that. So if you don't want your staff seeing it, we can remove that from view. When it comes to your discounting, it'll remember what option you normally use. So mine's on set price because I would normally say, look, that bike, I'll round it down to $1,200 for you. But if you normally do percentage or dollars off, whichever one you select is what it'll use next time. So if I normally said, yeah, look, I'll give you 10% off, I can simply put 10% in there, and that's discounted that sale down by $129 for me.
Yeah.
When it comes to completing the transaction, a good process to get into is recording customer information for the transaction. So if I wanted to track this sale against Justin's details, for example, I can simply hit my select customer option there. If Justin hadn't been in before, I could hit my add option and I could add him in, but I know he's in there, so I'm going to choose him out of my list. So there he is, Justin. And that's now going to link this transaction to Justin's details. That way I can do things like keep a record of his serial number of his bike. I can target him for marketing down the track. So anytime, I have something to do with the, downhill mountain bike, for example, I could send Justin notifications. And, even for warranty purposes, for bringing his bike back in for its first service, I know that he purchased that bike from me. I can then see when it's had its first service, and yeah, you can keep all of those records in the system.
You might talk about it, but just on the marketing side of things, if I was to come in and buy a mountain bike for myself, and then, in 2 years' time, I buy a little bike for my kid or daughter or wife or whatever, can I track all that information as well?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. So within the point of sale here, look, I haven't got one set up on my touch screen there, but you can turn events on, and so then when you put that transaction through, even though the sale is to Justin, I can track an event against that particular transaction and say, this is for Justin's wife or child. I can even link things like birth dates for those relatives as well. So that way, in 10 months' time, I could send you a message saying, hey, just checking in, you bought that bike a while ago. If you need anything for it as a follow-up birthday present, you can keep in touch with those customers.
Yeah, excellent.
When it comes to completing transactions, again, really easy. We highly recommend integrating the system with your FPOS. So from here, if you're paying by card for these goods, I can simply hit my FPOS button. That'd put the figure, the 1198 down the bottom there, put that onto the screen of the FPOS pin pad for me. And the customer then taps their card and finalizes it. That'll spit out the receipt for the customer. So put my initials in to record it's me doing the sale. And then I've got mine set to bring up a preview of the receipt there. So with your transaction receipts, we can totally customize these, and you can have different styles for different types of sales. So this is my normal transaction. Your lay-by transaction receipt is going to look a little different. Your repairs dockets are going to look different. And yeah, you can totally customize those. So if you want to change logos, fonts, styles, and all of that stuff, we can tailor that for you too. So there's my receipt, logo on the top, Justin's details. If I scroll down a little further, I can see the products that he purchased. There's the bike, and I've got a few extra notes to print out on the receipt there. and I can also see the serial number listed. So it's calling all of that information out on his receipt, and at the same time recording all of that in the background for me.
Oh yeah, so I can use that additional info for, you know, passing on warranty information or how to best look after your bike and so forth, can I?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and that can be tailored. You can do that on an individual product basis. I've got some customers that will actually do an image on the bottom of receipts. Anytime it's got a bike in that transaction, promoting that, hey, they can bring it back in for its first free service.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you can tailor all of that. And these notes, they can work a couple of different ways. You've got a couple of options in your stock screen of how to use those. You can have one section for notes that'll print on receipts and, you know, in-store information. And then there's another extra info section for sending all of that information through to your website as well. So if you are linking the point of sale to your web, it'll send across all of that spec information on the bike as well.
Excellent.
If I jump back to the point of sale screen, you'll also see a couple of options there. I've got Hum and Zip Pay, so we can integrate with both of those directly through the point of sale. Lay-bys is a really big thing with our bike shop customers still, and you can track all of that in the system. It's really in-depth in the way it handles lay-bys. So let me add another bike and I'll show you this process. Let's choose that one and let's do a lay-by to Justin. So when I complete a lay-by sale, I'm just going to finish it off in a slightly different way, put my initials in. This gives me the option to choose how much deposit the customer's paying. Now I've got mine set as a default at 10%, but we can customize that. Or if Justin said $99.90, look, just make it $100. I'm going to pay cash. I can change the method of payment to cash. I've also got my default lay-by durations. So we can set up 3 defaults, but I can also customize that. So if Justin said, hey, this is a birthday present, and I'll actually pick it up on the 4th, I can change that date. And the system is then, when I finalize that, it's going to print my lay-by receipt is going to have a payment plan on the bottom of it showing how much Justin should be paying each week to make that, to finalize that lay-by.
Excellent.
You can also have all your terms and conditions on the bottom of that receipt. You can set how many copies you want printed out when you do a lay-by. So the most common setup there is 2 copies, one for the customer and one to sit with the goods in store. Any questions on that, Justin, or anything you want to add to the point of sale side of things?
No, not really. I was going to talk about lay-by. So I can go in, you know, if there's 3 items on the lay-by and let's just say they pay enough to, you know, want to collect maybe 1 or 2 of those items, I can partially collect those, those items.
Correct. So if you came in and wanted to make a payment, back on my point of sale screen here, I can hit customer payment. I'm going to choose you out of my list. And when I do this, I'm going to say pay lay-by. I can come in here and I can see you've only got 1. But if you had 5 different lay-bys, I could see all of those in this list. So those serial lay-by customers can be managed. And I can either do a payment across all of the lay-bys and it'll split it equally across them. Or I can simply click down here. I'm going to say you're going to pay $100. And I can see there, that's only got the bike on it. If it had multiple products on it, I can see whether any of those have been collected or not. I'm going to put the payment through for you though. And you're going to pay by FPOS, that's fine. We can turn this on or off. I've got mine turned on to bring up the lay-by management screen after I put the lay-by through. And this gives me the option to then give the customer more information on it. So firstly, I can come in here and I can hit my notes option. So if Justin turned around and said, look, I'm going to be a bit late with my next payment, or I'm going to collect it a little sooner, I could add a note in here to be collected this Friday. I can also, you can see here, I've only got the 1 product on it, but if Justin turned around and said, can I add a helmet to that? Or can I add a pair of shoes to that? I can add products to this. I can also delete it. So again, if he went, you know what, that's the black version, can I get the red version instead? I could change that over. And if I did have multiple products on here, if Justin had paid enough off of this lay-by to cover any of those goods, I could then flag that he is collecting those. And then on his receipt, it'll actually specify what date the various goods were collected from the lay-by.
Yeah, right. So you can completely manage it from, obviously making payments, partially collecting certain things, adding things, removing things.
Yeah.
Start to finish.
Correct. Yeah, really, really thorough in the way it manages all your lay-bys. And I can get to this screen either by when I do that lay-by payment, but at the same time, if you are you do have a lot of lay-bys that you manage, you can either have a lay-by management option on your main touch screen here, or back on my main screen, I've got lay-by management and I can get into it through there as well.
Oh, yeah. Excellent.
Actually, that just reminds me, one other feature that's been quite popular with our bike shop customers is gift cards. So we've got an in-house, we've got a third-party company we work with to produce a credit card style gift card. So barcode on the back, they'll design it with all your logo and information and whatnot on the front. And then to sell a gift voucher, you simply have an option on your touchscreen for gift voucher. I'm trying to spot mine there. Yep, gift card sale. I could flag it that I want to charge that with $100, for example. And then when I finalize this sale, it'll ask me to scan the barcode. I do just that, and it then knows there's $100 charged to that card. If the customer comes in and only spends 20, it knows there's $80 balance remaining on that particular gift voucher.
Excellent. And they obviously can be done to A4, A5 or thermal as well.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, the physical cards have been really popular, but for customers not quite ready to take that step, it can either print a little slip on the bottom of the receipts, or it can produce a A4 or A5 document as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions on that, Justin?
Look, back to the promotional stuff. Is that sorry, I didn't see the message. Does that show the staff member that it's on a promotion?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So if I was selling one of those tubes, I can come in here and I can go. So the Kendo, I've got that on that promotion. Down the bottom here, it shows the saving information. That can be set with a few different messages. So that could say that's on this particular sale. Therefore, it's 10% off, saving the customer $1.
Yeah.
And you can also note things on there, like if I sell my parking hook here, I've got that set with stock warning levels. So I can see here, I'm starting to run out of this. I've only got one left and there's a warning level of 5. So that ties back in the background where you can have warning levels for products. You can have minimum and maximum levels for reordering. But then you can also do your reordering process based on sales history as well. So if you were wanting to place a reorder with BBB, you could jump in and you could say, all right, well, show me everything I've sold over the last month from that particular supplier, and it'll then prepare that in a version that you can then go and edit and select the quantities you want to reorder.
Yeah, cool.
Within the point of sale as well, you can also do some really simple things like suspending the sale. So I'll add another product to this. Let's add tubes, mountain bike. If this customer turned around and said, actually, I've got to go and get my wallet out the car, or I might just go and look at those bikes over there, I can park or suspend this sale. I can put a note in, so I could put it in Tim's sale and suspend it. And that will then allow me to put that in the background and go and serve other customers. If that customer comes back to any one of my computers, I can hit that park sale option again, and it'll show me all of the suspended sales in here. And I can simply select that one and it'll bring it back up in this screen. Sorry, I chose the wrong one. But yeah, that would have brought that sale up automatically for me.
You've got a few people that haven't come back.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I think I've got like 30 in there.
I noticed when you clicked on that, if a customer potentially wanted a quote for that, transaction that they brought up, you can just easily send that. I saw a little message that said send to quote invoice.
Well spotted, yeah. So if you came in, for example, and you wanted a quote on one of these bikes, I'm going to say don't assign a serial number, add the parking hook. Put a couple of items on there. And if you said, look, yeah, can I get a quote on that? I can simply select the customer. So I'm going to choose Justin again. And
racking up quite a bill.
So yeah, well, this one's a quote, so you don't owe me anything for this one yet. And from there, again, I can hit park that sale. and I can send this one to my quote and invoice management. So this will move me into a different section of the system where it records all of those quotes. So if you've got a process where maybe at the end of the week you jump in and you go, all right, well, what quotes have the guys sent out? Like I'll follow up on those. I can come in here and I can view all of these. I could, if the customer turned around and said, yep, I want to go ahead, I could then progress that to, to be an order for them. And from here, if you wanted me to send you a copy of this, really easy. I could either hit print, and this is going to do an A4 version. So it's going to look different to those docket style receipts. And again, we can customize that to suit how you want it to look. But I could simply flag, print, and preview and print that off. That said, I'm all about saving the trees these days. So I'm just going to hit email. And this way, I didn't have an email address in your account yet. So it's asking me, so I could put in here your email address, hit OK, and that would automatically email a copy of that quote through to you.
Yeah, excellent.
And back on that, and there's the preview. So this one here looks quite simple, but we'd set your, business logo up on the top, all your store details like phone and email. We go through and customize that to suit.
Yeah.
And you've also got an option at the top here. So, if you were sending this as a quote to the customer, I can hit my notes option here and I can add any notes to it. So back to the lay-by process where it might be a birthday present or a Christmas present, I can record all of those kind of notes against this particular quote. So, if I am getting back in touch with the customer, I can speak to it in a, in a deep level.
Excellent.
And yeah, if I did want to, jump that back to put it through as a sale, I could move it straight back to suspended in the point of sale.
Cool.
Any questions, Justin?
No, look, the point of sale. I mean, essentially, like you haven't, moved off the point of sale screen much, have you? So you can really customize the screen.
You can, yeah. And you know what, you raise a really valid point. Like a lot of our customers, some of our smaller customers where they might only have one register, they can really easily do everything from here. So you can have these shortcuts. I've got one down the bottom here to arrive stock. So I can actually jump without closing out of anything or moving through screens. I can just hit arrive stock and it jumps me into my stock processing screen. So I could come in here, I could bring in an electronic invoice from a supplier, I could arrive an order that I've sent to a supplier, or I could manually put one in. I can do that while I'm standing at the register. Keep in mind, you can still do that from a back office machine if you prefer, but it's really flexible in how you get from one screen to the next. And, if someone came in and I needed to serve, I can just click back in point of sale, put a sale through, and then I can jump straight back to where I left off on that invoice.
Yeah, cool. Excellent.
So that's your point of sale side of things. Really, really comprehensive, really feature rich. Like I said before, by all means, if anyone has any extra questions on that, just pick up the phone and give us a call. We're happy to help.
Actually, just before we get off, I'm just looking at your buttons. That special order.
Yeah.
Again, I probably not. Yeah, sorry if you're going through this, at a later date, but probably just points to the whole. You can do things, mostly from the point of sale screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So I can do a special order. I can either ring up a transaction to do a special order, or I can do it where I do a special order just of one product. So I'm going to do a lookup on my Scott scale. And, here's where some of your searching tools come into play. I mean, I can see it in my system over here. I know I could find it very easily. I've got about 9,000 products in my database. But if I wanted to search for something, all I need to know is one particular word. So I'm going to type in here scale, and that's going to find anything with that word in the description, regardless of where it falls. Now, if you were coming into my store and you're inquiring about the Scott scale, the black men's, for example, I'm going to select that one, and this will bring up all of its information. So I can see when it was added into my database, when I last sold it. I've sold 13 today, so it's a pretty popular bike. Half of them are to you, I reckon, Justin. I can also see I've got 6 on hand, so I should be able to find one of those to sell to a customer. Comes from Shimano, and down the bottom here, I can see every time I've received it, and I can see if the pricing fluctuates. Now, this bit here is customizable. So if you didn't want your staff seeing, say, the cost price or invoice numbers, I can turn fields on and off in this screen. But back to your question of the special orders, I can also view extra details, and let me just resize this slightly. And I can see the picture of it and that extra text as well.
Oh, yeah.
If you turned around and said, yeah, look, that's the bike I'm after, can you get one in for me? Down the bottom here, I can hit order this item. It's going to put it onto my next reorder report for Shepherds. I've got them flagged in the background of my system as being my preferred supplier for it. It's going to order one, and I'm going to click in customer number, and I'm going to choose you out of my list. There you are. So now you've got a lay-by for one of these, you've got a special order, and I think you've got a sale for one as well. So I'm going to add this to my next order for Shepherds. I could charge you a deposit if I wanted to, but you know what? This is a really popular bike. I'm going to sell it regardless. So I'm not going to worry about a deposit for you. But I absolutely
my bill's pretty big as well with the system.
Yeah.
Let me.
True. So I'm going to do a special order for that for you. So now in the background, that is now on order for you. The next time I receive that in, it's going to stop and say, hey, don't forget, Justin's got the Scott scale on order. It's then going to print a pricing label with all of your details, the product description, and how much you still owe is going to be all listed on that label. And in the background, it's going to automatically send you an email or a text to say, hey, Justin, your Scott scale's just come in, come and pick it up when you're ready.
Excellent.
And there's a full special order management screen as well. So at any point, you know, if it's someone's job to manage all of those orders and make sure, you know, the customers are being communicated with and whatnot, you can go into the special orders management and track all of that info.
Cool.
While I'm a few other things, if you know, if we're looking at all of my buttons on here, you've also got the option of coming here and looking at all of your previous transactions as well. So, you know, if someone calls up and they say, hey, look, I bought this bike 3 months ago, can I get a copy of the receipt? Or, you know, what was the serial number? I can come in here and I can find any transaction I like, either based on a particular date range, who served them, what the product was, you know, even what the value was on the credit card statement. So if someone says, hey, there's a charge here for $2,100, I could put that in the sale amount and it's going to find anything that matches that. From there, once I find that transaction, I can either reprint it, I can email them a copy of the receipt, or if it was a lay-by in this case, I can also pay the lay-by from this screen as well.
Yeah. Cool.
And anything else you want to add to that, Justin, or any questions you got on the point of sale side of things?
No, I think I'll let you get off point of sale.
Look,
you've got other things to show me.
Yeah, look, I do. The point of sale it's essentially the heart of it. In terms of, you know, it's where most of our customers, you know, they have this screen open pretty much all day. It's all about, you know, getting customers through the business quickly and tracking that information.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, I'll jump out of the point of sale screen for now, and I'll come back to my main screen. The next, I guess, big feature for our bike shop customers is repair and job management. Again, I won't jump back in there, but I can shortcut to this directly from the point of sale. So, you know, if it's a process where the bike shop checks the repairs in at the point of sale and then they take them down the back, really easy to do. You just flick between the screens. If they've got a separate repairs counter and they book it all in there, then chances are that particular machine in that section is going to have this screen up for the majority of the day. So from within my repairs and job management screen, I can come in and I can find any of my repairs either based on the status of it. So in here, I'm just looking at all of my outstanding ones and ones that have an unassigned repairer. I can filter this by their collection date. I can also, same as that other screen, I can change what fields are visible in this grid here. So if I wanted to be able to look up, have certain information very visible there, I can change that. Or if I wanted to look at, you know, different type of repair, so all of my completed ones, I could simply flag that. And I can search down the bottom here as well. So I've got mine on repair ID, but I could be searching on the customer's mobile number if that was your default. And I can resort these. So if mobile was your more common mechanism for looking up repairs, I can change that and I can make that my primary field. When it comes to adding a repair in, really flexible in how this works. So if I add a repair, and again, we're going to do one for Justin. So it's automatically generating my repair number. That said, some of our bike shop customers still keep a manual form that they fill out, and you can manually allocate that repair number as well. I'm going to let mine auto generate. I'm going to click in customer number and I'm going to choose Justin. That's by surname. There he is. I can choose who's receiving it. So it's me booking it in. Date entered was today, and I've got my system defaulting to be, 8 days later for collection and at 5 p.m. That can be customized. I've got a quote option here. So if Justin was just saying, look, mate, what would it cost for you to, try and straighten up my bike? I could put a quote value in there and I could just put some quick instructions in. So I could just say repair frame. And I could then, if I wanted to do this really quickly, I could finish that. I could print my job cards and job's done. That's logged in. But that said, the more thorough way to do it is to continue through this. So I'm not going to put any notes in there. And it's asking, the first thing it wants to know is, what am I doing this repair on? So there's two things I could do. I could either select it at the top here. So I could scan its barcode if it's, still got it on there for whatever reason, or I could select it either based on everything in my database, or I could just look at the product. So I could say to Justin, did you buy this from me? If he did, then I can do this based on the customer's products. So I want to do it based on his Scott scale, and it's the one with the serial number 4567. So that's the one I'm repairing. It's put a bit of a description in here, but I'm going to put a note in, and I'm going to put in there buckled front wheel, front rim, scratch on crossbar. So
Sounds about right.
Sorry?
Sounds about right with my bikes.
I've seen them. so that bit's really good because, you can put those notes in so that, when Justin comes back in to pick it up and he's like, oh, Tim, you didn't, that scratch wasn't there when I dropped it off, then I've got a reference to that, and that would have been printed on your receipt from when you first dropped it off as well. So, when you're talking customers with bikes, that can get quite expensive, it's really good to note that sort of stuff down. So I'm doing a repair on Justin's Scott scale. If I continue through, you can have preset job types. So I can have in here my default repairs. I could just have an open one as well. So if it was a custom one, I could flag that and I could put the price in. But if I was just doing, say, a general service, I can flag that and I could then either assign that to a repairer if you've got different staff, or I could leave it unassigned and I can come back to that later. Or if you've just got one person working in the workshop, you don't need to worry about that at all. So here I've got my general repair. I can, down the bottom here, I can see everything that's to be done as part of that general service. That information, you can pre-configure that, and that is all going to print on the workshop job cards as well. So you can have that set to print on the customer's copy if you want them to know what's to be done as part of that service. It'll print on the repairer's copy, and you can do a third copy. If you've got an internal job board, you can do a third copy that, maybe you stick up there so you know who's doing what work. I haven't got a price assigned against this, but I could have, or I could just type over the top. So I'm going to say, I'm going to make this one $90 for now. And I can finish that and I can add that repair in. So once I've added it in, I can then print my job cards. You can have up to 3 different types of job cards, and they can all be set to print to different locations. So I've got all 3 of mine are printing to A4. Sorry, no, it's not. My customer version is printing on my receipt printer. So you might have a version that goes on your job board that might be A4. You've got your customer version that will print out on the docket. And then you might have a third one, which again prints on a docket that you staple around the crossbar of the bike. So you've always got that identification with it. So I've logged my repair in. When you go to do any work on that, you simply click on it. I can put any notes in here. So I could put in Justin needs a new bike. I can put any notes in there. I can allocate any parts to this job as well, just by clicking in here and either scanning the barcode, putting its code in, or searching for it. Across the top, I can even go to images. So if I was doing some work on Justin's bike and I noticed a big crack in the frame, I can put an image against that within the repair as well. So you've got all of that information for future reference. So you go through, do all your work on the job. As soon as you finish, you put a completed date in. Once I do that, that'll automatically, it's just asking for my initials, so to record who's completed it. You would have seen a little pop-up come up there, and it might come up with another screen in a minute. But what that's trying to do is, in the background, that'll send Justin a text message to say, hey, Justin, your bike's finished being serviced. Come and pick it up when you're ready. When he comes in to pay, really easy. I could either, if he brings his receipt in and I'm in the point of sale screen, I can scan the barcode on that and it'll go to put the payment through. Or from my repairs screen here, I can simply hit payments, $90, pay now. That'll jump me into my point of sale to finalize it.
Cool. Even if they didn't have a receipt and you're at the point of sale, I'm assuming you can click a button that will bring you to a. Yeah,
you can. So two ways to get to it. My personal preference is to jump back into that repairs section. So I can jump in here and then I can put my payment through in that same way. That way you kind of just checking over it to see if there was anything in there that you need to call out to the customer. Or the other option is I could have gone customer payment. I could have selected you out of my list. And then from within here, I can do pay repairs.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm back in point of sale. Any questions on repairs, Justin?
No, I think you covered it. I guess obviously you selected the bike against that specific customer. Obviously, they've purchased it from that store. If I purchased it from a different store or, moved interstate, I can still track that sort of generic information about that bike.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you can do when you go to log the repair in, so I'll jump in here. When I get to this second screen, rather than selecting the product, I could hit my drop-down list and I can say, this one's a specialised. Actually, let's choose, I reckon I've got e-bike. So if they were bringing an e-bike in, I've got that flagged to request certain information. So because this wasn't purchased from my store, when I do select e-bike, it's asking for the brand, model, warranty, and serial number. So then I can add that information into my system to have that record.
Yeah, cool. And obviously you can customize those templates depending on what information you need.
Yeah. So I've got e-bike in there. I had someone that also does marine radios. So you can see when I select that, let's choose CB installation. That again changes those fields. So they can be customized to suit.
Yeah. Great.
Any other questions on repairs?
No, all look pretty good.
Easy. So look, I made a bit of a list of the functionality I wanted to walk you through. Oh, look, so the next big one, and this is across our bike shop customers, but also look, just in general with the last, I would say 3 years, this has been massive. And that's the e-commerce integration. So I'm just going to select my Scott scale here. Now, I could have got to the product information for this item by going through my other menus, but I'm going to jump there from point of sale. So I can bring up all of the information I have for my Scott Scale 980. So I've got its description. You can see at the top there, this one says it has variants. And that's what I was talking about before with this item. If I wanted to sell this online, I really want to have those variants loaded against it. So when the Scott Scale hits my website, the customer clicks on that. They then choose the color and the size and the style they want, rather than overpopulating my website with 100 different products.
Yeah.
So I can see this one, this is the black large men's. I can jump in here, back to my main screen. I've also got images across the top. So here's where you can load as many images as you like against a product. I've got those extra details where I can add my web description. I can put any extra data sheets against it if I want to as well. But key to this, if I wanted to sell this bike online, all I need to do, I've got my web store price. I'm selling it up just under $100 cheaper online. All I need to do is tick this web store item box. and it'll then send all of that information across to the website for me. You can see there I've got 6 on hand, so the website can either absolutely reference my quantity on hand, so say, hey, we've got 6 of this in stock. It could say low stock, in stock, or out of stock, or you could ignore that entirely. But look, my personal view on that, I'd love seeing absolute quantity on hand on website. It gives me a lot of confidence in, in shopping online with that retailer.
Yeah.
And then if a customer does make that purchase online, the sale information flows back into the system automatically.
Yeah. Just on the e-commerce integrations, what are the links we've got?
Yeah. So we integrate with Shopify, Magento, or WooCommerce. Our preference is Shopify. It's really easy to use. And look, on that, when it comes to doing that integration, there's 3 different ways to do it. Our customers can self-serve. We'll simply provide the information to then link it up with, with their existing Shopify website, if that's the case. If they're a little unsure and they just want some, some guidance and assistance through that, we also offer a once-off consulting service. Or the third option is if they don't have a website, or if they want to get a new one, we've actually got an in-house web development team as well. And the majority of our web development, we do, like I said, Shopify being our preference. Most of it is done within Shopify, but we also do some Magento websites as well. Yeah,
excellent. Look, you probably go through pricing towards the end, but those 3 links, as far as ongoing maintenance and so forth, is that included in the pricing, or is that additional cost?
All included in our standard pricing.
Yeah.
The consulting service comes at an extra fee, but like I said, that's a once-off.
Yeah.
But the ability to link in with that is all included by default. And yeah, it's been a really big part of it over the last few years, especially.
Yeah.
And look, just while we're on that, as far as integrations go, we also integrate with, FPOS. So through Linkly, we integrate with the majority of the big banks. We integrate with Tyro. No extra charges with us for any of those. We integrate with Xero from an accounting perspective. That's a inbuilt API. Again, all part of the package. We can link with MyOb, QuickBooks, and there's a few other providers as well. We do those through a third party. They do have their own set of fees and charges, but Xero, absolutely no dramas. We link directly with them without any charge.
Excellent.
And actually, sorry, I'll jump back into my stock screen for a second. So there's a couple of other things that I wanted to run through in here. When it comes to reordering of products, like I mentioned before, you can set your min-max levels. So this particular bike, I always want to have 4 in stock, reorder it when it gets down to 3, and warn the person at point of sale when it gets to 3. I can also flag things like what type of label I want for products. So this is really important. If there's anything you sell that might be Australian made or locally sourced, I've got a different label type in here that'll call that sort of stuff out. So that way, any of my customers walking around the shop, they could really easily see, what's been sourced locally. Or if there's different information you want on particular labels. So there might be some shelf product where you don't want the price on the product, you just want a shelf label for it. You can have different label styles for those different types of products. Within this screen, I can also view all of my serial number history for that particular product. So I can see what date serial numbers came in, what date they were sold, and what transaction it was part of as well. So you've got that full history against your serial numbers as well. And you can flag, so in my screen here, I can flag what products require a serial number, and if they need it at the time of arrival or just at the time of sale. You can flag how all of that works. We've also got tags in here. So tags is really good for reporting. So this particular bike, I might give it tags of things like bike. I might tag it as Black and Scott. And that way, if I wanted to report on anything, like let's say I wanted to report on anything that's under the brand Scott, I could do that without it mattering what department or category it's in. So if I simply wanted to see how Scott products compare to specialised, for example, I can really easily get that comparison by using tags for that.
Oh, yeah.
Look, just looking through my list. Secondhand goods. We have quite a few bike shops that focus on secondhand bikes. That can all be tracked within the system as well. So again, back on my main screen, we can customize this. I've got a shortcut there for secondhand goods, and I can jump in here and I can manage all of my secondhand goods contracts within here. When I add one in, I can then flag what the product is, how much I'm buying it off the customer for. It'll force me to do things like the ID checks. So put in my driver's license details, make sure I've got all of the customer's information. And that will then add that new product new secondhand product into my database. And when I sell it, it'll actually track what customer that product was sold to. So if I need to, look that up, for police or anything like that, I can really quickly jump in here, find that contract and find what customer it was sold to. And I've got all of that information right at my fingertips. Look, ultimately, that's sort of what I had on my list to run through, Justin. Was there anything else you wanted to, jump into? Any questions you've got?
At the start, you can set your reordering quantities.
Yeah.
Is it obviously you can do a purchase order based on that? What if I want to order just on what I've sold from a particular supplier within a certain date range? Can I get that information quite easily?
Yeah, you can. So again, on my main screen here, I've got a shortcut directly to just that. So I can go order by sales. I can select a supplier. So I'm going to choose Supplier X. I can put in the date range that I want to look at for their sales. So this could be last week or last month, or you could do it seasonally. So if it was things like, clothing, maybe you want to do a reorder for summer, I could jump in here and I could say, all right, well, show me what I sold from Supplier X between November and February last year of that range of products. So that way you can do a bigger order for it at the start of the season, and hopefully negotiate a better price. But in this case, if I just use Supplier X and I put in a date range of the last 14 months, I'm just going to process that. That'll go through and grab all of my sales for Supplier X over that time frame. That then brings it up in a grid, and I can see here's everything I sold. I've got the barcodes, descriptions, and their codes. I can see what my sell price is. Here's my sold quantity. I could go through and I could manually do this, or I could just, if I wanted to simply go, just reorder what I've sold. Let's do this quickly. I can go use quantity sold, and that populates it into the side there. I can go through and change this. So I might look at this and go, quantity sold 5. You know what? I'm not going to worry about getting any of those. And I should point out, this screen, like those other ones, I can customize it. So if I wanted to look at my quantity on hand on this screen as well, I can come in here and I can flag, I want my Adelaide store. So I can see my quantity sold. Actually, I want where's my quantity on hand?
Underneath quantity sold, about halfway down. Up.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. So I can now see my quantity on hand on there as well. So I might look at this and go, mine are negatives, but you get the picture. So I can see my quantity on hand. I've got 2 of those, wants me to reorder 1. If I've only sold 1 in 14 months, I'm not going to worry about ordering any of those. So I'm going to change that back to a 0.
And I saw you can do, it can show you how many's on a pending order. So, if you might need to order 20, but you might have 20 sort of coming in that you haven't arrived yet. You can see that information as well.
So you can turn that on as well. So you can customize whether it's on a pending one, so one that you're in the process of creating, or on a sent order, so one that you've actually sent to a supplier that you're waiting for the goods to come in.
Yeah.
But once you've got this quantity to order to a fairly accurate level, I can then create an order for that. And that'll jump me into my orders maintenance screen, where I can go through, I can add any other products to it. If I did have anything on a special order for customers, that would highlight those in orange in this screen as well.
Yeah.
And from there, once I've got that to a point where I want to send it to the supplier, I simply hit send to supplier. This will generate a bunch of different formats depending on what they can accept, or I can just go send as a PDF, an email, and that'll send it through to the supplier.
Easy.
Yeah. One of the really cool things with that is once you've done that, so if I send this off to the supplier, and this is just gonna let me finalize it. One sec. Actually, sorry, it's just trying to send an email and I haven't got those settings set up. There we go. So now this is flagged it as being sent.
Yeah.
So what that'll let me do, when this order comes in, rather than having to sit there in my invoice arrival screen and say, yes, I'm receiving in 2 of these, 3 of that, 5 of that, I can simply go to stock, invoice arrivals, and I can go to arrive order. And this will list any of those orders I've sent off, will be listed in this grid. I can then jump in and I can receive those in automatically. So it'll just bring that in for me rather than having to sit there and do it one by one. And that'll do it in quite a quick format. It brings it up in a grid so that you can really easily modify it as well. So if cost or sell prices have changed, you can really easily update those.
Excellent.
And there's also a bunch of suppliers that we've done work with on electronic invoicing as well. So when they send you stock, it will actually match up exactly what was on the invoice coming out of their internal system and load that information in for you. So you can see there, I've got a specialised invoice here. Even before I've seen that stock, you should get that file. I can come in here and I can view it and I can see what's expected to come in on that invoice. And that's before it's been received into my system. When I get those goods, I simply come in here, tick it and hit OK, and that'll roll through and add it into my database and update my stock levels and pricing.
Beauty.
What other questions did you have for me, Justin?
Functionality-wise, I think you've covered it. Have you ticked most things off your list? Or I was going to ask some questions around, install and lead times and things like that, but
you know what, I have ticked most things off my list. I mean, there's some other kind of technical tools that I was going to go through in terms of the stock manager, just to show how easy it is to do mass updates and things like that. But look, I might save that one. And if anyone has any more technical requirements, reach out to us and we'll do a one-on-one demonstration with that to run through how it works.
Yeah.
Any questions on the process or how we work or the company background?
Yeah. So what have I got here? Well, obviously the first one is data conversion. So coming from a different provider, what do you guys bring across?
Look, so the majority of our customers that we're installing these days are coming from other systems. We see quite a lot of retail manager installations. So, doing a lot of conversions from that. But look, I would say, I don't think we've had any installations where people have come from one system where we haven't been able to convert data. So as part of our process, if someone turns around and says, yep, we want to go ahead, before we even install, one of our team will remotely connect in and extract all of the product and customer data and do a test import of that. We'll then come back to you and say, hey, look, this is the information, this is how it came across, and we'll work with the customer on just making sure that all looks right, and if there's anything that needs to be cleaned up with it. From there, once we've booked the installation, we do that process again so that we're converting the freshest version of the data on the day of the installation. And then we'll go straight in from data conversion to the system configuration and into training and setup. All of our installations, we include 2 days for remotely onboarding customers and doing just what I explained. But that said, in some instances where they might have 4, 5, 6 computers, we might turn around and say, hey, you're going to need a bit more onboarding time. But 2 days is our essentially our minimum and our default for our smaller customers.
Yeah. Cool. I know you touched on it during it, but just to clarify, as far as e-commerce integrations go, Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce are all inclusive?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Xero's included as well.
Yep.
And then for any other accounting packages outside of Xero, we go through a third party. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So third party for those ones, but Xero by far the most, common one we're seeing these days.
Yeah.
And really easy to set up. We'll
Yeah.
walk through that process with customers.
And obviously the onboarding process initially will cover, most training and installation services.
Yeah.
Ongoing training after that.
Yeah, so ongoing training, there's actually quite a lot involved. So, or included. So part of the subscription, firstly, it includes access to the software. It also includes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week technical support, and that's 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. through our head office, and then outside that, more emergency stuff for after hours. So we don't really want a phone call at 2 a.m. of how to run a report. But look, I guess...
Is this the time you give your mobile number across? Or?
Well, yours and my mobile numbers are on everything. So, but look, that said, I mean, our support, it's all local. Like, I was going to say it's all... everyone's working out of our head office in Melbourne, but they're not at the moment. Everyone's working from home. But it's real people just waiting to help. We use remote access tools to log in when the customer gives us access, so we can log in and assist with anything. But that said, the reason I shared my screen again is any of our customers can also jump onto our website. When you sign in here, I've got exactly the same sign in as our customers do. So when I log into the website, it's just going to take a second. So when I log into the website, there's an option at the top here to book training. So any of our customers, as long as they're subscribed to the software, can jump in here and book a free one-on-one 2-hour training session with us at any point. No limitations. We really want to see our customers get the most out of it.
You've obviously shown me a lot during that demonstration, but what you're saying is, if I install in 2 weeks' time, say in 6 months' time after the installation, I can maybe implement a loyalty, facility, or use the marketing tools, or I guess slowly be drip fed, the certain functionality. I don't have to cram everything in from, the initial installation and make my brain explode.
Correct. And look, I mean, personally, I've been doing this for 20 years, and that's absolutely the way I'd recommend about, going about the installation.
Yeah.
Just get from A to B to start with. Don't worry about, using all the fancy tools to start with. Let's just get you operational on the new system, and then use those 2-hour sessions and use our training resources to start to make the most of those tools down the track.
Yeah.
It'll way better for your headspace doing it in small steps.
Just one other thing, I noticed a software ideas button on the page.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's to do with software enhancements and updates and things like that. First of all, are they included in the ongoing subscription cost?
Yep, they are. Yeah, so all updates are included as part of the subscription. But the good thing about being an Australian company, any of our customers can jump on here and go to software ideas and either submit an idea themselves or vote on ideas that are there. And that's what goes by our development team to progress the software.
Yeah, cool.
And from here, you've also got the option for the knowledge base. So, if anyone wants to know how to say, reprogram a touch screen or change some buttons or anything like that, I can come in here and I can just type a keyword in of touchscreen, and this will show me all of the articles we have on that particular feature or function. Yeah,
excellent. Yeah, well, I think you've covered everything on my list.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and look, that's pretty much what I had. So look, we'll wrap it up there. But if anyone wants more information, by all means, pick up the phone and call us. We're more than happy to help. Also happy to do a one-on-one demonstration like this to answer any additional questions that people might have.
Yeah, no worries. Before we leave, how am I looking after those transactions? Do you send me the invoice? Or
I'll email them through. And,
no worries.
Payment within 24 hours.
Cheers.
Thanks.